Attention, new agents. This is me, Dr. Byron Brimstone, Director of the OMEN. That's the Office for Occult Monitoring, Examination, and Negation. I'm here to give you a short intro into the adventures of the OMEN Investigations team. Join us on a comedy role-playing podcast set in the modern world, where 3 agents travel the globe to deal with demons, cultists, and conspiracy theories. Follow the exploits of Koala Jackson, an amnesiac Australian with a dark history.
Yeah.
Annabelle St. John, a gun-sticking girl from the deep south.
Is it a gun cult or is it a pony cult?
And Dr. Martin, a disgraced former professor from Sweden.
I mean, I am from Sweden.
If you like listening to people search for monsters, aliens, entities from beyond the void, and other such hoo-ha, then you should check out Omen Investigations on all good podcast apps. Brimstone out. Dolores, remind me why we're podcasting our top-secret operations again.
Those are funny, Mr. Brimstone.
Right.
Life's a game, the world's a stage, and we are merely role players, where theatrical people play role-playing games. My name's Matt Boothman. I have been your compere for this main house production of Vigil. I am joined round the table for this debrief by Ellie.
Hello.
As Percy.
Yes, that's right.
By Vicky as Renko.
Hello.
By Alex as Graham.
Evening.
And by Dave as Mick.
Hello.
How's everybody feeling after that?
Pretty amped up.
Yeah, good, I think.
I'm good. I'm good. I had a whale of a time.
Well,
Sorry, a shark of a time.
We can't stop, won't stop.
You'll all be pleased to know that now that we're playing Monster of the Week, there is some admin.
Yes. We love the show admin.
So, at the end of a session of Monster of the Week, at the end of a mystery, we ask some questions, and depending on the answers, you might get some more experience.
Oh, yeah.
I love experience.
I've really got the taste for the experience this time round as well, so...
Yeah, because you keep farming it like Chris Starkey.
I want it.
So, question number 1. Did we conclude the current mystery?
Oh, yes.
Yes, you did.
Okay, yeah.
The sharks we concluded.
Yes.
Yeah.
The rest is not... So, the mystery was the sharks.
Yeah.
The demon stuff is a story arc.
Okay.
Which may span multiple mysteries.
Yes.
But you concluded the current mystery, so that's 1 yes.
Yes.
Woo! Did you save anybody from certain death?
Yeah,
or
Mrs.
worse?
Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you certainly did. That's 2.
Yes.
Did you learn something new and important about the world?
Yeah.
I think so.
What did you learn?
We learned that the demons here from Percy's
We
time.
met Percy full stop. We didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, actually.
I'm not sure that we even knew time travel was possible before you showed up
Yeah,
in
we
our
took that
year.
in our stride.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
So that's 3 yeses. Did we learn something new and important about any of the hunters?
I'm a massive tentacle.
You're a massive tentacle, and we're related.
Yeah.
Oh, double whammy.
Double whammy.
That's 4 yeses, which means everybody gets 2 points of experience.
Yeah, boy.
That means I level up, and then does that mean I get another one after that, or do I level up? And
Yes.
then, okay, so cool, and then
Yeah. And then level, rub them out, and then add another one.
I only need to not listen to somebody's honest advice once next time I play, and I'm getting a new thing.
Right.
I get some stuff.
So Graham has leveled up, and Percy has leveled up.
Yeah.
And Mick has leveled up.
Oh, well done, team.
Get you.
We've all got a new thing this time round.
Right. Did anybody already have their eye on an advancement? Does anybody know what you're doing? Or do you need some time?
Need a minute.
I was thinking that I was just going to take oops because it sounds fun.
Yeah?
Oh, what's oops?
If you want to stumble across something important, tell the keeper and you will find something important and useful, although not necessarily related to your immediate problem.
Ideal. Do
Perfect.
it. Oops sounds amazing.
Do you get to sing Britney Spears' Oops, I Did It Again every time you perform
I think
the
I'm
Oops
allowed
action?
to.
Okay.
I'm going to prepare myself for next time I play by looking at all of the other playbooks and see if I can find.
Yeah, because that's the thing, isn't it? One from another thing does sound amazing, but I don't know.
I think I'd have to spend some time doing some research and seeing, and as you say, like figuring out a justification for how I would adopt that thing.
Yeah, because if it's like a core thing, like if you were to, like you could in theory take like freakish from the summoned, but that would be a big personality change. Yeah. No, I think for me it would be like. It's just that there's the three other moves that I pretty much the three other moves that I have don't totally fit with how I'm playing the character. Okay.
So
so you might be going for stat increases or other moves, or do you have the option of like getting a point of luck back or anything like that?
Yeah.
I think I do, and I can get a haven.
That's cool.
But I didn't feel like we were in the right place for that to be the case. I feel like I can get luck back in advanced improvements.
Cool. Yeah, so that's after you've got, I think it's 5, you can start taking advanced ones.
I've got to like max out my stats first, I think.
I'd like to take this one, but I'm not sure it really fits with Graham. It's why so serious? If you cap off a move with an appropriate one-liner, the team gets +1 forward.
That's cool.
That's pretty
It's good. But is Graham all about the witty one-liners? I don't.
It's a lot of pressure on you as a player as well.
I think you could come up with some in advance though for like have a little playbook of them.
I could, but at the same time, I'm not sure if that's Graham.
I think
he's not a witty one-liner man.
I feel like though it could be that Mick and Graham have had like. What do you mean you haven't seen Bad Boys 2 night?
Hell yeah, movie night.
And you've understood that when people do that in the human world, having a one-liner is like a convention that you should... But then it would be cool if your one-liners actually aren't that witty and just sort of miss the mark.
Like they're witty in the context of Graham.
Yes.
Funny because they're not good.
That's allowed.
Or because they're always about like spreadsheets or accounting.
Yeah. Account for that, bitch.
Check out this gross interest.
I feel like Graham's got lots of gross interests.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think Graham's mostly just gross.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take that because I think that is an enjoyable bit of role-playing shenanigans to
challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Challenge yourself.
I think finding a way to make it a part of Graham's character is what is fun about that, for sure.
Yes.
So mark off that you've taken that improvement. Ellie, Percy, any thoughts?
Well, I'm sort of torn between... So there's one very sensible one, which is learned. You researched all the legends and tales of monsters in your home time, and you investigate a mystery. You can ask the keeper the following questions, as well as the ones on the usual list. Did the creature exist in my home time? What defences are effective against the creature? What do I know about it that's been forgotten?
That's cool.
That's quite cool. But then there's 2 which would be really silly for playing. One is confused. Mark experience whenever your bafflement with the modern world gets in the way of monster hunting.
That would have been quite handy in this one.
That's an experience farm move. We're breeding Christakis here.
And you were baffled 7 or 8 times in the game that we just had. So.
And then there's this last one, which is Adept Sorcerer. You have a familiar spirit, usually in the guise of a pet, that counts as an ally subordinate. So the motivation is to follow your exact instructions.
Cool.
I don't know how that would actually operate. If I had a ghost dog, what could it do?
It could go and observe things for you, maybe fetch
Salem.
stuff.
Right.
Like in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the cat is quite useful.
You could use it to startle people.
Yeah.
Which might be helpful.
Yeah.
I think the confused one's going to be most hilarious.
Cool.
It's basically the Captain America move, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yes, I understood that reference.
Yes.
And it's also the one that will get you to the other moves quickest.
You're going to be able to follow me.
Yeah, let's go with that. Confused.
Nice.
Oh yeah, you really could have done with that in this game.
I know.
Yeah, those wasted opportunities.
We've still got time.
Oh yeah, there's still way more stuff for you to do.
Because we're going to be playing these characters again.
Yes, so satisfying.
So I thought that we could structure this post-production session a bit differently using a system, the designer of which I will link in the show notes, a system called Stars and Wishes, where everybody gets a chance to assign a star to something in the session that they thought was awesome, and a wish, which is something that you either wish you could have got to do or expressing a wish for something that you might get to do in a future session. So, does anybody want to assign a star or a wish for this session?
I've got a star straight off the bat just for the for you, Matt, for the concept of the shark, like the kids stuff coming to life stuff is really cool. That was a great monster for us to have as our first monster to encounter.
Thanks.
Yeah, creepy kid stuff's always brilliant.
Yeah.
It always works. I mean, it doesn't, but it always... Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's horrible, it's terrifying, but it always works.
And it provided a really good location because a school is... Everyone can kind of relate to it.
Yeah. Everyone will have a picture in their head of what one of those little mobiles looks like.
Yeah.
Although I think for the sake of any American listeners that we might have, we might need to explain what wet play is.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my word, yeah. Do they not have that in the States?
Well, they call it recess, not playtime.
They can figure it out from context clues.
Surely.
Yeah. But in case you can't...
if it's making you chuckle every time, you're welcome.
If it's raining a lot, the children are not allowed to go and play in the playground because they would get soaked. So they have to spend their recess indoors in the classroom, which is usually very boring.
I'm assuming they have a name for it in America as well. I just don't know what it is.
I don't know. I feel like there's more extreme weathers where they're just get outside, don't care.
They
just call it indoor recess, and it happens for multiple different reasons. Like we don't get it here, where it's like we don't get hot play because it's never hot enough.
Also, the phrase "wet recess" is not something that ever needs to be uttered.
No.
Okay, good note.
Yeah.
Good star.
Yes.
I would like to award a star to Vicky for that really cool scene where you had to explain to Wetty Teacher Man
Thank you very much.
what was happening, because it just made so much sense. I sort of started believing you. It was just really smooth, and there was so much logic in there, and it was just perfectly pitched, really smart.
Well, that is my job.
And it was a really good scene for showing, not telling. I mean, I did a bit of telling.
Well, yeah,
but
obviously.
that we saw some of the concepts of the world that we'd come up with.
Yeah, that was really really cool. Yeah,
kind of cements it nicely.
Yeah, that it's something that Renko has learned to leverage.
Yeah, it's one of my main. It is her main skill, I would say. That learned knowledge of how to manage people in that. Because we did make her more intellectual than physical.
Yeah.
I think a star needs to go to just everyone for coming up with a brilliant way of dealing with the sharks.
It was very collaborative.
It was, I mean, I was sitting there thinking, if we didn't have these people around this table, if it was just, for instance, me, I'd have been like, I'm going to ring the bell again, and start hitting things. and that would have been the limit of my scope.
We used a lot of those elements.
No, absolutely. But there was a little bit more finesse to it.
Yeah.
So that plan really cheered me up.
Yeah, I think a star for Alex for having been able to use all three of Graham's weapons in one scene.
I'm really glad you chose that as your star, because that was my second star.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
So good.
They just kept coming, and I felt such affinity with my own character's level of disbelief that is what would be occurring, that it was just really perfect. That worked very, very well.
Accountancy is important.
Yeah.
I'd just like to do a... Tell me if this is copping out or cheating. I just want to do a star for just all of the scenes where, any combination of you or all four of you just played in character for 5 or 10 minutes at a stretch, and I didn't have to do anything.
I didn't even notice that was happening.
I'm not giving you the star because I didn't have to do anything. It was just really great to see that.
So you're just a lazy, work-shy little bastard. Oh no, fine. I mean, I'll take the star, but it's quite revealing.
I'm really glad that you liked it, because I think my wish is just that I had been a little bit more able to completely abandon my own sort of internalized embarrassment about performing a character and getting straight into action and describing action.
Yeah.
I feel like I really warmed up on that front. My description of the spell that saves Mrs. Campbell I was much more happy with that than I was with describing my entrance via time machine, for example.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was quite a steep learning curve.
Yeah, I mean, we were all a bit rusty from not playing for a while, and also it's a new game, and also this is the first time we've done every other story we've done. We've sort of had a starting setup, and then it's just run.
Yeah.
Whereas this is the first time we've had established lore at the beginning.
Yeah, which we're trying to remember.
Which we're trying to keep straight in our own heads, and which I'm also this might be a wish for next time, is there were definitely times where I was improvising and maybe forgot some part of the setting and had somebody act not quite as they would or something like that. So keeping stuff straight in my head and getting the balance of knowing when to stop and describe a setting element for the audience and when to just let it play out and let them understand it from context.
Yeah, and I think a wish for myself is that I wish that I'd read any of the information that we've built so far. Honestly,
David does
the whole thing was a revelation to me every step of the way.
I think that's ideal for the character of Mick.
Absolutely.
That's what it was. That's not because I'm lazy, it's because I thought it would be better for me to be baffled about what's going on.
It's weird that Dave, as the one who hates theatre the most, was the most method.
Yeah, you really Jared Leto'd this situation. I think my wish, and again, this is something that I'll be thinking about for next time, is how I might have been tried to attempt some magic. Because it's not impossible for me, but I think it could be I think I played my character incredibly straight in this one because that is what the situation called for. But it will be interesting with a different mix of characters or a different situation how that might play out in a different scenario.
Yeah, because all the magic we saw was either somebody who is a magical being doing magic or somebody who is an adept at a certain style. So being we haven't seen what 21st century magic looks like
exactly
yet.
Yeah,
so that'd be interesting. Or what DO magic looks like.
And it's it wouldn't have necessarily, unless I was in a situation where I was stuck on my own, it wouldn't have made sense for me to be I'll do the magic now, guys, when we've got two characters who are clearly incredibly adept at attempting those kinds of
You say that.
moves.
I mean, I ballsed it up horribly.
It's gonna, it happens to all of us, don't worry.
I think my actual wish, not my joke wish about not reading stuff, was that mechanically, one of the things the character, the mundane, can do is to be captured and be taken away and stuff. But in the concept of what we had, it wouldn't make sense for that to happen.
We could have made it work. We could have had a situation, because I thought about this a bit, and there's we could have had a situation where Mick is trapped on the last chair after the sharks have destroyed all the rest of the furniture and can't get away. That would count.
Yeah, counts as being captured,
but you're right. When it's a creature that kind of only exists in a certain environment.
Yeah.
Oh, also, the other way that you could have got captured is if you'd rolled badly enough that one of them got you below the carpet.
Yeah, I did wonder that. I did wonder if I'd been picked up.
I was a little bit if this happens, I don't know what we're going to do.
Is on a kind of mechanical note, is Ghost Shark in the rule book, or did you kind of put that together?
I put that together. So the book gives guidelines on how to build monsters.
So you've built a sort of character sheet for the monster.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, they felt pretty hairy for first. In terms of the amount of damage they were doing if they did hit you was pretty pretty ropey.
It's only because I wandered in there with -2 to any damage.
I'd have been done in minutes. Yeah, which was again it was good that we were the mix, I think, of character types. It's really nice to have I know I'm not mundane. Dave's character is mundane, but I am human, completely human. So it's when you've got a third person who is also human but has some magic, it's we're pretty mortal. Yes. And so having one person at least who
luckily was in the firing line.
Yeah, is actually quite a handy setup.
Yeah. The funny thing about having the prep for this game is I've got very much into the habit of doing less prep and being more reactive and running with stuff that you all want to do. Whereas the way this game works, I have to come up with beforehand, what is the monster? Why is it happening? So that I can give you information when you find it out. So there's a little bit less riffing of I think I need to find the way of nudging subtly but forcefully enough. I didn't have to do it much this time, but if any players go completely down the wrong path and start barking up the wrong tree, to be able to say in an in character or out of character way, you're not going to find anything down there. You've got the wrong idea.
Yeah, I guess with this one, because there is an answer, isn't there? There is,
Yeah, I don't improv the answer. I come up with the answer to start with so that you are able to find it out.
Yeah, and it is then important for us to be picking up what you're putting down.
It's interesting you say that, though, because I don't think at any point I felt that you had written anything, if that makes any sense. So it felt it was like you were still not making it up on the fly, but it still had that lightness of touch and that sense of enjoyment that everyone was getting from it. So you could still riff, you could still kind of build on a theme.
There's still give and take.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels more organic that way.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting in future sessions where, like, maybe the monster is more mobile or more intelligent, because of the way that the mechanical way the monster works in this story, because it's the carpet is the sea and something has to have activated playtime for the monster to appear. I didn't have the option of, like, if you roll badly while investigating or talking to a witness, the monster comes up behind you.
Exactly,
I didn't have that option in this one.
Yeah, which when it's a sentient, a humanoid being, that will be much easier to do.
Yep.
But as you say, more complicated.
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah, this was good for a first.
Keep it simple for the first one.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, it gave us quite clear scope for, well, we're either going to be at the school investigating or at the library researching or interviewing the people that we come across. There's not any other big deviations that you can kind of make with it, which was helpful because it did stop us from going too far off track.
I don't think I've actually got a wish, mainly because I got to do an awful lot of stuff. Even when I was in the back of a van, I was still happy being in the back of a van.
I've got a wish for Graham, which is that I want to see him bring the apocalypse closer. Need you to start spending that luck?
I know. So
I've got to start hammering
basically,
you harder.
yeah. So basically, my character, every time I spend luck, I bring the apocalypse closer, and there are moves that I can take that allow me to just start spamming my luck.
So you're doomed is all of our doomed.
Yes, effectively.
Yeah.
When Graham has used all 7 of his luck, the apocalypse begins.
Right.
Oh boy.
I'm kind of annoyed that you've remembered that, because I was trying to keep that a little bit quieter because I don't like taking risks. So my wish is that you forget this conversation ever happened.
Yeah, I'm going to need to bring monsters that can do even more harm, so you're actually tempted to spend it to negate it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. He says.
Yeah, Dave was the only one of us that was brave enough to spend luck.
Yeah.
Brave or foolhardy?
I mean,
You choose.
I very much enjoyed all of Mick's charging in without thinking. Diving through windows.
That's a great thing about that move, is it really encourages you to do that, just to run at things head first.
Yeah, because one of the other mundane, a lot of the mundane ones are about kind of taking risks. One of the other ones is "Don't worry, I'll check it out," where you just go off by yourself to look at stuff.
Yeah.
That is Zonda from Buffy.
Yeah.
It's every day. You're like, why is he the one that's? Why is this happening?
And it's great. It incentivizes Dave to do those things, and then you all have someone to save and a reason to act.
Yeah.
And it's
Or
great.
ignore in the case of you just being upstairs smashing stuff like that.
it actually worked out very usefully.
It did, yeah.
Kept me out of trouble.
Yeah, kept out of harm's way. There's
Yeah,
loads
can
of
you imagine
stuff.
if it had been me that had broken down the door into that office? It would have been a disaster.
Yeah, she would have
That could
died.
have gone very
She would have died.
Yeah.
That's the short of that one.
Potentially.
Can you
so
imagine
quick.
the demon doing that spiel with Mick and Mick being like, you've really got the wrong person?
You were expecting someone else, weren't you?
Yeah, I love the idea the demon turns around and is like, I've been expecting, wait, who are you?
Just a man with a sledgehammer covered in glass.
Yeah, Mick's ongoing backstory plots didn't come into it much. We talked about the brick sculptures. But we didn't see much of your weird strength.
No, just lifting the shark off the floor with my sledgehammer.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
But I did wonder how much of what Mick will see in these escapades is a surprise to him, because he appeared to be relatively unsurprised by a lot of things.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to know whether that's like an intrinsic part of his personality, that he just sort of
Doesn't think about it.
appears
Yeah.
Phased.
either doesn't care, isn't phased, or appears very calm on the surface but actually is freaking out underneath, or if he's actually seen quite a lot of this to the point of it like nothing's a surprise anymore. I don't know.
Question for Dave to ponder, or not if he doesn't fancy doing homework.
Better believe he's not going to do it anyway.
And then that in itself is an answer to the question, because if Dave's not thinking about it, maybe Mick's not either.
He isn't
That's
thinking
why he's
about
not
it.
bothered, because he's just not thinking about
The
it.
most unneurotic human being ever.
Well, his reaction to Graham being revealed, his true form, just going, Graham, your tentacles are out. Like, Was it tentacles are showing?
The extent to which you've based the character of Mick on your own father, including his drink being a black coffee, is hysterical.
It makes sense though that as a that is how you filter a reaction to that situation into normal, polite, mundane manners. Right?
That was a very good moment. I really enjoyed that for comedy.
Yeah, well done, everybody playing characters for the first time.
Yes.
Oh,
It's great.
For the first time on the show, anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's very good fun.
yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
So I know, Ellie, you said it took a bit to warm into it, but did all of you feel like you had a bit more license to act big than when you're trying to be yourself?
Massively, because you're not judging yourself. You're just kind of not even judging the character. You're just going, the character can do this. Whereas rather than second guessing what I would do and whether or not I would take a sword to a shark, I probably wouldn't. So I'm not going to do that. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I think for me it's it made me really finally hone pattern spotting, because I was just looking for, when you said you came up with this really logical, my brain was already there when we were even coming up with the idea of flooding the room. I was how will I piece this all together? And and then when I knew that the teacher was going to show up, I was I'm going to need an explanation for this. And so I was I really felt like I'd started to embody the character a little bit by spending time in my brain while action was happening, thinking about how I would.
That was suspiciously smooth how you came up with that excuse.
Yeah, it's like it just came to me. I was well, this is the natural explanation for this. So, and it was I was a practiced hand at it.
I found with character decisions, I had to suppress my natural instinct to consider, because actually Percy acts on trained instinct.
Yeah.
She's a woman
most
of
the
action.
time.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, and she's been trained her entire life for fighting monsters. So a lot of her reactions are going to be instinct and training based rather than stop and consider. It's when there's those scenes where they're talking plans, that strategy and process comes into it. In sequences where they're actually enacting a plan, the consideration has to go out the window.
Yeah.
And of course, the other thing that's different is that we have told a complete story with a beginning, middle, and end, but the story will continue.
Yes.
So we're allowed to leave threads dangling.
Yeah.
this
And there
time.
certainly are some threads dangling.
Some juicy danglers.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Tentacly.
Which I guess is probably mostly consideration for me.
Yeah.
I have to think about wrapping things up in quite as neat a bow as normal.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's quite freeing.
Interesting to see how the story continues with different
Yes, about who it will be.
whether you need to have one of us in each in the next set, string them along, chain them with people to have people who've done the one before, or if you had to brief the players before each session.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see if a certain mix of character types
Just can't win.
works. Or is more or less functional than others in certain situations,
Utterly
which we'll learn
useless.
over time, I'm sure.
Yeah, because we actually had quite a well-built party, really, because we had, two intellectuals, two slightly more physical side of things, magic, and magic. It was all covered quite well.
Yeah. I mean, the sort of the way that it encourages you to tackle problems is you know that you can't beat the monster by just charging in and all of you hitting it.
Yeah.
You have to do something smart to either trap it or weaken it or something. So there's always going to be an element of playing to the present people's strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you all for playing, bringing your A game, and we shall see you all again in Vigil at some point.
Anon. Yes. Thank you. And now I'm going to disapparate.
No, Percy, don't go back to 1852.
But it's where I live.
This has been Vigil, a main house production from Merely Roleplayers. It stars Dave as Mick, Vicky as Renko, Ellie Pitkin as Persephone Byron, and Alex Pankhurst as Graham. Sound design for this production is by Natalie Winter, and the theme music is by Alex Pankhurst. I'm Matt Boothman, and I play the supporting cast, as well as editing and producing this episode. We were playing Monster of the Week, a role-playing game by Michael Sands, published by Evil Hat Productions. You can find Monster of the Week at genericgames.co.nz. Merely Roleplayers is a Foggy Outline production in association with Blackshaw Theatre Company. Until next time, if drama be the food of life, play on.
Tilly agrees.
Is that your familiar?
That's my familiar.